Hey guys, how's everything going with you guys? Let's be honest, this pandemic is starting to get very tiresome. I'm sick and tired of just kind of like being on hold. It's almost like we're going in circles. It's like, do I go out? Do I go to the store? When am I going to see my friends and family again? Can I go to the movies? Can I go out to eat and stuff? And it's just it's not fun. Like I've low key have been dealing with, I don't want to say depression, but just bummed out in general. The other day I was sitting here and I was like, man, dude, this sucks. It's already June, and look where we're at. On top of everything else, I'm not gonna get in politics with you guys, but just in top of everything else, where we're at with everything this year, it's such a weird time in history, and it's really been making me reflect on family time, just being around with the people that I love, making sure they're okay, taking care of them, in certain situations and stuff. And I've had some personal things happen within the last couple of weeks that I really haven't told anybody. A couple weeks ago, it was my niece's birthday, and we had a small gathering. We were social distancing still, but there was about 10 of us, 12 of us, and my sister's mother-in-law, so her baby daddy's mom, the grandma on the dad's side, um, like 2 days after the party, tested positive for COVID. So we had this huge panic amongst the family that we all needed to get tested. So we got tested last weekend. I got tested. My mother got tested. The kids, there's three of the kids. My sister, the mom, and her husband, and my brother and his family. We all got tested. And our results came in. I was negative. My parents were negative. My brother was negative. Everybody was negative except my sister and her family. They got diagnosed with COVID from the stepmother, or not the stepmother, the mother-in-law. She got tested because she works at a dermatologist, and she got alerted to it. And we just found out after our tests were done this last week, right in the middle of the week, that the kids, there's a 2-year-old, a kindergartner, and a second grader, that they were all diagnosed positive. So I've kind of been dealing with that, making sure they're okay, and it sucks because I want to see them and stuff, but you don't want to risk it, especially with how everything's going. We even though the mortality rate is really low, we don't really know what can happen, what can change out of nowhere. And I've also been dealing with just, I don't want to say dark, negative thoughts, but like a cloud of gloom on top of me. Because at the same time, it was my niece's birthday. It was her 8th birthday, and I was thinking, man, she's getting so big. There's only so much longer that we have with her as a kid. So many summers and birthdays before she's just a grown adult. And then at the same time, my dad also had his birthday in May. He turned 81. And I just suddenly went from thinking about my niece to thinking about my father. And with, the pandemic and stuff, I was thinking about my father, and I was like, man, there's only so many more birthdays I have with him. And it made me look at life in a perspective that just kind of it hit me in the gut, and it came out of nowhere. It was like, I'm over here sad because my niece is turning 8, and that she's growing older, and she's going to become a young lady in a few years. She'll be a teenager. And my dad just turned, and then suddenly I just thought my dad turned 81, and holy crap, he's lived a long life, and I'm so blessed and glad that I've had him for so long. My biggest fear in life is losing my parents. I said this on stream recently. My biggest fear in life is the day that I get a phone call from somebody or a knock on the door and I'm told that my parents, something happened to them. I honestly am afraid of that day. I'm terrified. And to be honest, and I said this on stream, and I'm opening myself here. I said this on stream. I don't think I'm strong enough to go through that moment. To hear one of my parents has died. My father is my biggest hero. He's worked his ass off for us, for the family. He's older. He met my mom after he had a marriage, and he had some children with that marriage. And he retired from the military when I was very young. Senior Master Sergeant in the Air Force. He's a Vietnam veteran. And he just worked his butt off for us when we were growing up. And we've been so privileged and so blessed with everything that we've gotten. We've always had, dinner at the table. We've never had a situation where we felt like we're going to be kicked out of a house. We always had warm blankets, air conditioning, cable TV, all the toys we wanted growing up. And he was always working his butt off. He retired from the Air Force like in the late 80s, mid 80s, and then he joined INS. He became an immigration officer and did that and retired from he started that in 89. So he did the military, Vietnam War, everything, retired. Then in 89 he started at immigration, becoming an immigration inspector. And he did that until 2009. My father retired twice. And even to this day, I have to constantly tell him, Dad, don't wear yourself out. Don't go do this. Don't do that. I don't want you to fall down, hurt yourself. Because he just recently had a hip replacement surgery, his second hip replacement surgery in January. And then a few years before that, he had the other hip operated on. And he also had a knee scoped out. And he's one of those guys that'll go for a walk or go do something that nobody asked for. He'll go and I'll see him on a fucking ladder. like trimming a tree or doing something. And I have to be like, Dad, what are you doing, man? You're double retired. You're old. Sit down. I got this. I'll go take the yard. I'll do this. I'll cover the bills for the house. I'll cook your meal. I'll feed you, whatever. If you guys don't know, I live with my father. My parents, they don't live together. My mom has her own house. She'll come around once in a while, whatever. It doesn't matter. I live with my father for the sole fact that he's always been there for me. He worked 2 retirements. Not only that, when I started wrestling, my wrestling school practices were Saturdays and Sundays at 6 a.m. We had to be on the other side of town at 6 a.m. And my father used to come with me. He, out of his own kindness, used to drive me to wrestling practice on his days off at 5 a.m. And he would be there till about from 6 to 11 a.m. We had to be done by the time the flea market opened. We trained at a flea market. He would be there for me. He was a serviceman. He was an Air Force guy for me. He went to immigration for me. So many things. He built me a treehouse as a kid. He taught me how to swim. He taught me how to ride my bike. We watch Monday Night Raw every day ever since I was a kid. From the age of 9 to this day, that's our thing. We watch Monday Night Raw every Monday. We watch every single wrestling program. We bond over that. And not to mention, if you've been to any of my wrestling shows, anybody watching this, he's my biggest fan. The minute he found out that I was going to try out to wrestle or whatever, he was there. He was always at ringside watching me, and then at my shows. He was at my first match, and he's, to this day, 19 years of doing independent pro wrestling, even if it's on a smaller local level, he's always there in the front row, just watching me. Like, biggest fan, and everybody knows who he is in the crowd. Like, if he's not at that show, people are like, where's your dad? Is he okay? Where's this and that? Like, so many people are constantly checking on my dad because he's a great human being and everything. And for so much that he's done and sacrificed for me, I absolutely love my father. I would do anything in this world for him. I would protect him at all costs, and that's why I'm here. I'm not a leech. I'm not a mooch. I'm not staying here to take advantage of a veteran. The house is in my name. I pay the bills. House is already paid for. This house was built in 97. There's no mortgage. There's electricity, there's cable, there's internet, and there's other stuff around here. HOA fee, stuff like that. I take care of this. I do the lawn work. I cover everything for him. I cook. I grocery shop. Because I'm paying it forward. I was taught by my parents to pay it forward by your parents. Because they did it for theirs too. Till my great-grandmother's death on my mom's side, my grandma's mom, so my great-grandma, she lived until her 90s. And my grandma took care of her mother. My mother took care of her mother. And then on my dad's side, too. It's a Hispanic thing. In case some of you guys want to know, is a lot of Hispanics take care of their elderly. Even if they have to sacrifice living on their own in some shithole apartment, whatever. I am staying with my father. The hardest thing I did for my life was go to California and stay away from my dad. Because I've attached to him. I'm like his caretaker. He's not dying. He's not a sick, ill veteran that is on his deathbed. He's strong for his age. That guy, he can do wonders. I don't know what it is. He's like indestructible. He's in his 81. He's 81 years old, and he moves like he's not. He's barely ever sick. He can eat sweets with the best of them. He's almost like he's like a kid. And sometimes it feels like I'm the father and I'm having to watch him and take care of him and stuff. But that's because I'm overprotective. I'm the same way with my nieces and my siblings. I have an older brother and a younger sister. They're both practically married at this time. The hardest thing I did for me was go away to Los Angeles. And I was over there for damn nearly a year, off and on, back and forth, because I was always afraid of getting that phone call that, hey, Eric, something happened to Dad. And I'll be goddamned if something happens to my father and I'm not there to protect him or save his life or take care of him. And with this whole situation going on with the pandemic and all that, having that birthday opened up a lot of stuff with me, and I don't even know why I'm making this video. I just kind of wanted to share it with you guys and open up. But yeah, my biggest fear is losing my parents, hearing that death, and I honestly don't think I'm strong enough. I was telling my chat at my live stream the other day that I honestly feel like I would want to pass away first before my parents did, just so I wouldn't have that moment of anguish and grief to where I have no reason to live if I don't have my parents, and I don't want to suffer it. And it sounds selfish, it sounds greedy, but I just don't think I can handle it because I love them to the moon and back. They've done everything for me. They've supported all of my endeavors, my wrestling, my sports, just every single thing that I do. And I wouldn't be who I am without them. They're genuinely the best parents in the world. And I just put it into perspective with everything and stuff. I've learned to appreciate them a lot more. So if you're watching this or you watch this much, I appreciate it, and just thanks a lot, guys. I genuinely appreciate it. Anyways, I'll see y'all in the next one. Have a great day.